And I just want to take this opportunity to let you know that it's not too late to get involved in our Formal Friday. You can dress up, as we all have all day here on Off the Ball, take a picture, use the hashtag Formal Friday, and then share it on whatever social platform that you use. But more importantly, please donate. It's offtheball.com/donate. And the money raised, there's over 50 grand of it so far, is going to be distributed amongst a range of different frontline charities. All the details are on that website, offtheball.com/donate. And all this week on the show, we've been talking to sports people involved in the front line, either in the evening or on OTBAM every morning. If you've missed any of them, they're all inspirational in their own way and well worth digging out over at offtheball.com or on the OTB podcast network. And our guest this afternoon is Ireland's #1 heavyweight boxer. He's also a guard. Niall Kennedy, good afternoon to you. How are you getting on?
Not too bad. How are you keeping, lads?
Grand. Considering the nice weather, I think, is helping everybody just be a little bit calmer. But I think it's also making people a little bit... I was going to use the word braver, but that seems like it would be a good thing. A bit more complacent about what's going on. What's your experience?
Yeah, people in the whole are being very good and are trying to abide by it and are only making essential trips. But yeah, it's sort of, we probably have got a little bit complacent over the last week mostly. There just seems to be a lot more cars on the road and people taking a lot more needless risks. But as a whole, I think it's just people are struggling with being in lockdown, but we have to realise that if we don't play ball with this, if we don't follow the HSE guidelines, we're going to be in this for a long time, I think.
What is the day-to-day like for you as a guard at the moment?
Yeah, it's tough. Our rosters are changed, so instead of working 6 10-hour shifts, we're working 4 12-hour shifts, so it's a quick changeover and they're long tours, but morale in the job itself is very high. We're all sort of working together. The public, I'm 15 years a guard and I've never seen the support we've had from the public as high. So that's a great thing. It's just, we're seeing a lot more, we're seeing a lot more different calls, I suppose. Your public order incidents are nearly gone due to the fact that there's no licensed premises open and stuff like that. But with people being locked down and at home, there is the other little things that are popping up. So mental health as well has been very, I'd say it's definitely on a rise during this lockdown.
Yeah, I think Irish people traditionally have had a bit of a problem with authority, but it's interesting to hear that in 15 years you've never had as much support from the public. There was definitely a groundswell of support for the Gardaí. I think very early on when those stories started to emerge of incidents where people were spitting or coughing in the general direction of the guards, and the law got changed immediately to protect the guards. There was a real rallying point. Not that people wouldn't rally behind the guards anyway, but it's interesting that you've said that this is definitely that, and a bunch of other things have happened, that there is now a lot of support for the Garda as the Garda Síochána as a force.
Yeah, and look, it'd be great if we could carry it out, this pandemic, into going forward. But it's just, I think we're lucky our government acted fairly promptly in relation to this, and that law that you're talking about, bringing that out for the safety of members. And we the risk that ourselves are taking, but the risk that the ambulance drivers take is ridiculous as well. Going around to calls like this, and unfortunately, there is 0.1% in the country that see it as an opportunity to maybe act in a manner that isn't really what we want or what we need at this time, so. And it is, when I say it literally is just 0.1%, because in the whole, most people want this pandemic to be treated well, want everyone to stay safe, want everyone to stay well. And I think if we look at other countries, the prompt nature that the HSE reacted and the government reacted, it's probably saving lives. And even though unfortunately, we're still seeing massive deaths and numbers, but not to the scale of other countries.
I think the other thing that's happened as well is that the guards have been available for community policing in a way probably that you wouldn't have time to do on a normal course of events where you are dealing with public order offences and all the rest of the stuff. So there is actually more community policing. There is more going out and helping members of the community where they need it, particularly the elderly and the most vulnerable.
Yeah, but come here, the mad thing about it is that would have always been done. The guards were always available to do that. It's just people don't see it. You're tied up in the other stuff. You see other stuff. But I myself, I do a lot of community policing in Wicklow Garda Station, and that we've always been available to do that, but people were just unfortunately just didn't believe it or didn't know it or see it maybe at the time. But now it's a more visible force because we are out on the roads and we are in the shops and doing things like that. But like as a police force, we are fairly approachable. You know, if you go to other countries, like it's not. And on Garda Síochána are very proud of the fact that we are approachable. We are very same as you and anyone at home. You know, we put on a uniform, we go in to try and make people's days easier and safer. You know, not it's not this go and get people thing that people probably had the perception of.
When the weekends are good and the weather's good, Wicklow obviously is full of some of the most beautiful beaches and parks and parklands and forests in the country. Has there been a fair bit of, has it eased off? Has the willingness of people to risk it and go into those places, has that disappeared a bit over the last couple of weeks?
No, it has. It's been, last week, Glendalough in particular was dead. No one went down or no one tried to go down. It was fairly well publicised. I think British Bay and Glendalough in the first weekend of the lockdown was ridiculous. And it was, you know, it really affected, like Lara is a small village there on the way into Glendalough, and the people were very worried about other people bringing down viruses into the area and into the village, because there'd be an elderly enough community there as well. And, you know, so, but thankfully, people have heeded the advice of the HSE. We have checkpoints set up daily. There's a large amount of checkpoints being set up, but on the whole, there's very few people having to be turned around. Most people are making the basic essential trips, thank God, and it doesn't. Only look, you sort of touched on it well. The fear is that we're getting a beautiful blast of weather at the minute, and I live in Gorey and Wexford as well, so Cortown is going to be popular in Ballymoney, and it's just we really need people to cop on and be vigilant, because if it's the risk, it's the not knowing of it as well. Not everybody is showing symptoms when they get the virus, unfortunately, you know. And I worked with a man of guard that had a sore throat, and that was the basis of it. A lot of people in this time of year, in the change of weather, get sore throats, get snuffled, or they just take it for granted. But this man had it, so luckily he didn't. Well, as of yet, no one else has contracted it off him, but it's like we just have to be so careful and so vigilant individually, as not. And this isn't just as a guard, this is just as a person, as a human. We have to look after our vulnerable community and our older people, because this is lethal.
100%. And it seems that message has definitely got through. And I hope you're right that for another couple of weeks at least that people can just maintain this. Because you talked there about being cooped up and the issues that brings. And you mentioned, we touched on the mental health issue. I want to get into that a little bit now with you, Niall, because obviously you've spoken out before about your own mental health issues. The first question obviously is, how are you getting on? And then the other question is, what lessons can we learn from how you've come through your problems in the past that people might need to hear now?
Yeah, look, it's fairly well publicised. I suffer with bipolar disorder, but I have it under control. I've managed the illness for the best part of 10 years very well, and have showed no real signs. But the main, people have to manage with any mental health. There's people at home now suffering that would never have believed that they're suffering with any illness or mental health pressures even. But my advice to everybody and anybody is to try and get yourself a half an hour a day where you're on your own, whether it's reading, meditation, a small bit of exercise, whatever you need to be. It doesn't have to be run 10K, it doesn't have to be beating Olympic times or anything like that, but just get out, get some time for yourself, some headspace, fresh air, and just try and look after yourself. And don't be afraid to talk to people. I know we're not seeing people as well, but Skype, as we're on now, and WhatsApp and stuff like that, be in contact with people. And if it means just video calls to people that you're missing, do it. Make sure you're doing it, and just look after your mental health. And if you start feeling that you're violent, you're under pressure, or that you're having concerns about yourself, don't be afraid to reach out and contact people. I'm part of a charity in Gorey. Talk to Tom, who we've set up Headspace. He helped me launch it actually, but we set up Headspace Gorey.ie, and like that's the name of it because it's based out of Gorey. But anybody can touch on that website, and there's practical advice in how to maybe make your general well-being feel better. And if you are concerned about your own health, contact someone. Make sure that they have counsellors over the phone. We can't go face to face with anybody at this time, but they're still working. There's still counselling services available for you. Just look, don't let something fester. Don't let something stay with you. Make sure you talk to someone. Make sure you try and get a handle on it. Hopefully, we'll find a solution or find a way out for it, or help someone to get out of it.
We saw the statistics for people buying booze and the off-licence soar over the last month or so. So obviously, people might not be drinking more, but they're certainly drinking more at home. Some of this might have been people going to pubs, obviously not going to pubs anymore. But that lack of social interaction that maybe the pub or wherever brought people, suddenly they are at home and they're definitely drinking more as a country at home than we have been before. So those kinds of decisions that people are making, and I think we're all making them at various stages across the course of this, and we're all going to have bad days where the anxiety levels are off the charts and the motivation to get out of bed is very difficult to rouse. Is there practical advice or little tricks that you've taught yourself over the years to kind of get through stages when it gets bad?
Yeah, look, I try and do some form of exercise every day. That's my thing, but I'd love to have the patience or the time even to do meditation. I've seen the benefits people have seen from that. If it's to go for a walk, put in a podcast, the likes of Pat Divley, the likes of these people, I find they're brilliant. But everyone will find something that's good for them. Find that one thing that you enjoy. Make that one thing that makes you feel better about yourself, whatever the activity be, whether it be knitting, sewing, drawing, whatever it is. Just find that and get a half an hour away from everyone, get a half an hour of your own headspace and try and look after yourself with it.
What about being a professional boxer at this stage when all this is happening as well? Like you probably had a plan in your head about how 2020 was going to go for Niall Kennedy, the boxer. What was that plan, and how do you stay motivated and stay training for that?
Yeah, well, the plan was to get back winning. The plan was to fight in March and get back winning after the mishap in August last year. I suffered an injury as well off the back of it, so I haven't boxed since last August. And despite my age, I am actually getting a lot older. Despite my appearance, jokingly I'll say, but I'm 36 next month, so time isn't probably on my side. So I was hoping to be back out in March, back out in May, and then start knocking on doors again. But as it is now, it's for the very same for myself as it is for the likes of Jason Quigley, Dennis Hogan, Gary O'Sullivan, like all the top lads in the country. Even no one. It's a bleak time for a boxer because it's very uncertain. In small hall shows, if we're to talk about the levels in Ireland and small hall shows being run in Ireland, you can't run a small hall show if you can't let people into it, so closed doors events won't work for the smaller companies and stuff like that because they depend on ticket sales. So yeah, bleak, but the main thing is just when this lockdown gets down, keep yourself fit, keep yourself ticking over. It could be a blessing in disguise for me. I broke my hand in March, so I haven't punched anything since March, so the hand is getting a good recovery. If I'm working on my fitness, I'm doing as much running as I can, doing small bits of strength work at home. So it's just, you keep trying to tick away, and then when we get the opportunity, if we got 4 weeks notice, you'd be hoping that you'd be ready to go. But you can't substitute sparring and you can't substitute pad work and stuff like that. But you have to, everybody in the world is in the same position, so you just have to maintain what we're doing and keep tipping away as best we can.
That is the thing, isn't it? The fact that like whoever you're up against will have the same amount of prep time as you've had. Whenever this is all and obviously it's down the line. Is there any thought given at this stage that you've had a professional career, you've won titles, that this has come at a time where you might retire, or are you absolutely 100%, I'm getting back in that ring when this is all over, because you don't want to finish your career in defeat?
Yeah, oh no, I'll definitely be getting him back in the ring. And whether I lost the next time, it's not a case that I don't want to finish my career on a defeat. I genuinely feel that I still haven't shown what I can show. So if I believed I was wasting my time, if I believed I was wasting Pascal's time, and if I didn't think there was going to be a return at the end of it, it definitely would be easier. It'd be easier on Niamh, it'd be easier on myself, and I'd have more time with the little lad. But I still believe that my goal is still achievable. My goal, I never set out to be world champion because I probably went to pro boxing too late in the day. But I do firmly believe, having sparred the likes of Joshua, having sparred the likes of Joe Joyce, that getting into that top 20 in the world is very achievable, and getting into those big fights and being very competitive in them. I'm not saying I'm not going to topple Tyson Fury maybe, or knock out Deontay Wilder, but I feel very confident that I wouldn't disgrace myself in those bouts and that I would be very competitive. And my goal has been to be in the top 20 in the world and to try and look. I hadn't a glittering amateur career, and it was good, but it wasn't great. I had no Olympic medals, or I wasn't an Olympian. So I'd say what I've done in pro boxing has sort of been a surprise, but Pascal is such a strong man and a strong manager and strong trainer that he has made me believe that I can still get to that level. And look, my aim is the top 20. I don't. If I get there, I don't see why I should stop there. I'll change what's the old saying? Just move the goalposts again. Then, but at the moment, that is my target still. The most important thing is trying to get back in the ring. Like I said, I'm 36 next month. But look, I'm a heavyweight, so heavyweights can traditionally go on a little bit longer. And I haven't took a massive amount of punishment. The loss came as a result of a back injury done in training, not in the ring. So, yeah, sorry.
Can you work on technique now, or is it purely fitness?
Technique is hard. You're trying to shadow box and you have a 2-year-old coming in kicking you. And technique is hard to do when I live in a housing estate, so I'm out the back shadow boxing, and you start to paranoid that everyone's looking at you thinking, what's the freak at in the backyard? But think of them at the
excitement that they're getting from looking out their back garden. There's somebody doing some sport. They'll be like, you should charge them $5 to watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. They'll probably think it's a comedy sketch, I think, more than look, fitness and strength. I suppose I boxed since I was 7, and I've had no real break from boxing, thank God. And I've just, with age, it's probably about more about training smartly at the minute. So my hand needed a rest, and it's getting probably a little bit longer than I'd hoped. But it might be a blessing in disguise, and I firmly believe that if it's for me, it won't pass me. So I'll get back. I'll get back training once Pascal is allowed to open the gym. He's very prudent in relation to everything like that. He's bang on. Like he doesn't want this. I'm a member of Gory Boxing Club, and I have the keys to the club to go down and train if I wanted. But to be honest, I would be afraid another person will come in after me, and I'd be putting them at risk. Yeah. So I just haven't been doing it. I think in this pandemic, it's something that I definitely haven't seen in my lifetime, but I don't think anybody in the country has seen in their lifetime, and it's against the whole world. So we have to all just play the ball, and I'm very proud to be Irish, and I'm very proud to be from Wexford and Gorey, but I'm really proud of how we're all dealing with it in this country. I think we're a shining light in relation to how we've dealt with it. To support the police service and the frontline, like the work the HSE are doing is phenomenal, and it's just, and down to nursing home staff, and we've had a couple of calls out to the nursing homes and Blame Row and stuff, and the staff out there, like these people, I really hope that not talking about government and all politics or anything like that, but I really hope that they don't ever have to strike again for what they deserve, because these people are keeping us all alive. They're amazing human beings.
A fine point of wisdom to finish this up on, Niall. Thanks a million for being so good with your time. And look, I think we'd like to say thanks. I think that's one of the things that has been happening, that people are fully appreciating the point that you just made, that there are people who go out there and who up to this point maybe haven't had the respect from the general population that they deserve. That goes for our teachers. All of a sudden everybody homeschooling realises how difficult it is. That goes for the guards, who we see and kind of took for granted for all these years. And it goes, as you say, for all the frontline staff. And that's really what today is all about, and that's what Formal Friday is about. And I thank you for dressing up on your day off, for your afternoon off for us as well. Best of luck, stay safe, and we'll talk to you again soon, hopefully, about getting back into the ring whenever that's appropriate to do so.
No problem. Thanks a million, lads. Stay safe. God bless.
And if anybody wants to donate, the way to do it is use the hashtag FormalFriday, take a picture of yourself, and then go straight over to offtheball.com/donate. We've over 50 grand raised for a bunch of different charities, the details of which ones, for all frontline charities right around the country, the details of which ones are up on the GoFundMe page, which offtheball.com/donate will take you to.